welcome to the Everything is Communication podcast with myself, Nompendula Shabangu. I'm a communication specialist. I'm a published author. I do so many different things within the field of communication. But the one thing that highlights and wraps up everything very nicely is the role of storyteller. That is what I resonate the most with. And speaking of storytelling, I wanted to share an excerpt with you from one of my favorite books, which I have vowed to read at least once a year. And that is the book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Now, you're going to have to pay very careful attention because it's going to set the tone to be able to help you understand where it is that we're going. It's going to lay a very solid and important foundation. So listen up, gear up, and let's get into it. Now, this is from chapter 7, and it is titled The Ethnic Theory of Plane Crashes, and it reads thus. On the morning of August 5, 1997, the captain of Korean Air Flight 801 woke at 6. His family would later tell investigators that he went to the gym for an hour, then came home and studied the flight plan for that evening's journey to Guam. He napped and ate lunch. At 3 in the afternoon, he left for Seoul, departing early enough, his wife said, to continue his preparations at Gimpo International Airport. He had been a pilot with Korean Air for almost 4 years after coming over from the Korean Air Force. He had 8,900 hours, or that 8,900 hours of flight time, including 3,200 hours of experience in jumbo jets. A few months earlier, he had been given a flight safety award by his airline for successfully handling a jumbo jet engine failure at low altitude. He was 42 years old and in excellent health, with the exception of a bout of bronchitis that had been diagnosed 10 days before. At 7 p.m., the captain, his first officer, and the flight engineer met and collected the trip's paperwork. They would be flying a Boeing 747, the model known in the aviation world as the Classic. The aircraft was in perfect working order. It had once been the Korean presidential plane. Flight 801 departed the gate at 10:30 in the evening and was airborne 20 minutes later. Takeoff was without incident. Just before 1:30 in the morning, the plane broke out of the clouds and the flight crew glimpsed lights off in the distance. "Is it Guam?" the flight engineer asked. Then, after a pause, he said, "It's Guam. Guam." The captain chuckled. Good. The first officer reported to Air Traffic Control, or ATC, that the airplane was clear of Charlie Bravo, cumulonimbus clouds, and requested radar vectors for runway 6 left. The airplane began its descent toward Guam Airport. They would make a visual approach, the captain said. He had flown into Guam Airport from Gimpo 8 times previously, most recently a month ago, and he knew the airport and the surrounding terrain well. The landing gear went down. The flaps were extended 10 degrees. At 01, 41, and 48 seconds, the captain said, "Wipe her on," and the flight engineer turned them on. It was raining. The first officer then said, "Not in sight?" He was looking for the runway. He couldn't see it. 1 second later, the ground proximity warning system called out in its electronic voice, 500 feet. The plane was 500 feet off the ground. But how could that be if they couldn't see the runway? 2 seconds passed. The flight engineer said, "Huh?" in an astonished tone of voice. At 01, 42, and 19 seconds, the first officer said, "Let's make a missed approach," meaning let's pull up and make a large circle and try the landing again. 1 second later, the flight engineer said, "Not in sight." The first officer added, "Not in sight, missed approach." At 01, 42, and 22 seconds, the flight engineer said again, "Go around." At 01, 42, and 23 seconds, the captain repeated, "Go around," but he was slow to pull the plane out of its descent. At 01, 42, and 26 seconds, the plane hit the side of Nimitz Hill, a densely vegetated mountain 3 miles southwest of the airport. $60 million and 220,000 kilograms of steel slamming into rocky ground at 100 miles per hour. The plane skidded for 2,000 feet, severing an oil pipeline and snapping pine trees before falling into a ravine and bursting into flames. By the time rescue workers reached the crash site, 228 of the 254 people on board were dead. The author in this book, as a result of the research, reveals that the typical accident involves 7 consecutive human errors. These 7 errors, furthermore, are rarely problems of knowledge or flying skill, he says. It's not that the pilot has to negotiate some critical technical maneuver and fails. The kinds of errors that cause plane crashes are invariably errors of teamwork and, wait for it, communication. One pilot knows something important and somehow doesn't tell the other pilot. One pilot does something wrong and the other pilot doesn't catch the error. A tricky situation needs to be resolved through a complex series of steps, and somehow the pilots fail to coordinate and miss one of them. End of excerpt. With that being said, I wanted us to roll back and think about this. When we read this chapter actually goes on to detail a number of other plane crashes that have taken place in history. And as already has been mentioned, it's not because of lack of skill, it's not because of lack of knowledge, but rather the underlying factor are as a result of 2 things, teamwork and communication. And of course, there's no proper teamwork without good communication. And this really hit me hard when I read it for the first time. And that's when I realized that, you know what? Everything indeed hinges upon communication. Whether it be interpersonal communication or corporate communication, things begin to fall apart when effective communication methods are not exercised, when they're not put into place, when there are no effective communication policies and strategies. We take for granted the importance of honing in on our communication skills, polishing them up. You know, when it comes to the social aspects of things, relationships fall apart because of a lack of effective communication. In the professional sphere as well, people's careers don't take off as far as they could possibly go. Why? Because they fail to communicate their work. They fail to communicate their expertise, their experiences effectively. And life belongs to those who can communicate effectively. And that's one of the reasons why I have such a great passion for this, not only because I'm a communication specialist, but like I said, primarily because I'm a storyteller, and I believe that we all have an important story to tell. One of my favorite sayings is of an African proverb that says, "Until the lion learns how to write, the story will always glorify the hunter." And so as we get ready to embark upon this journey through the Everything is Communication podcast, you and I were going to talk. I'm going to be sharing, quite a number of things that I have learned through my profession over the years in the field of communication. One of my first roles in communication was as a public relations officer. And I learned so much from it. And as a result, it still remains one of my first loves within the communication industry. When you think about marketing, that is communication. When you think about branding, that is communication. Whether it be personal branding, corporate branding, whatever it is, it's all about communication. And there's an alignment that needs to happen. There's a seamless connection, across the various platforms that businesses exist upon, for instance, whether it be on a website, on LinkedIn, whether it be through digital marketing, on TikTok, Facebook, on X, all of these various platforms. The thing that connects everything, the thing that connects the world is communication. If not done properly, we crash and burn. Sometimes, quite literally, as we already have seen. When you go on to delve deeper into this chapter, it talks about even cultural communication. The ways in which people communicate culturally can actually affect, whether positively or in a negative manner, their message. The way that we package our messaging, that is a part of communication. And so I'm really looking forward to us delving even deeper into this journey, and for us to be able to appreciate the importance of being able to gain the necessary skills to be able to effectively tell our stories on a personal level, through our personal brands, socially, professionally, on a corporate level. It all comes together. So my hope is that we've been able to realize the importance of communication. It cuts across every single aspect of life. It's not something that we can ignore and just kind of think things will fall into place. No. As a skill, as a gift, it's something that we constantly have to be polishing because, as I already had mentioned, that saying, the African proverb, this is our time to be able to tell our stories in our own words, to take back the pen and to say, you know what, I'm still here and I'm going to tell my story in a way that only I can. It's time for you to spring forth. It's time for you to come up. And so, like I said, I'm going to share certain things. I'm going to invite different guests onto the program, and we'll be able to see that indeed everything is communication, regardless of what field or industry it is that you're in. So I hope that you're going to stay here with me. There's a lot that we're going to learn. There's a lot that we're going to share. And I look forward to embarking upon this journey alongside you. And you know what? I believe that we'll be able to see progress when we begin to monitor, when we begin to look at things. How far have we come? What are some of the things that we have learned? And so on and so forth. And so I'm really excited. I have been involved in quite a number of projects, and everything has led me to this very moment where we are able to just come together and see the ways in which we can effectively use this brilliant tool that we've been given called communication. You can do it, I can do it, and I'm here to spur you on, and I trust that we're going to learn from each other. I wanted to invite you to be a part of our upcoming masterclasses. So at Karabo Consultancy, we have a Karabo School of Communication where we do all things communication. And so coming up on the 27th of February is the LinkedIn 101 Masterclass. A lot of people tend to feel very uncertain when it comes to LinkedIn. Who's the platform for? Do I even belong there? You might be thinking, I'm a beauty therapist, I'm a nail technician, I'm a hairdresser, I'm a mechanic, I am in engineering, I'm not particularly in corporate. Do I actually belong on that space? And LinkedIn is really all about thought leadership. It's about networking, it's about connecting, making your voice heard, and connecting, again, like I've already said, connecting with like-minded people. And it is my desire for people to be able to gain the confidence that they need, to be able to share their stories, whether you are a recent graduate, or even if you haven't even graduated as yet. That platform is for you. Whether you're a fashion designer, you are, whatever it is that you do, that platform is for you. The doors are wide open, and I would like to see people gain the necessary skills, the necessary communication skills, and even the know-how in terms of how to navigate it, to walk with a certain level of authenticity. Because one of the things that tends to make people shy away from a platform such as LinkedIn is that I don't know if I belong there, and I don't want to sound fake. I don't want to seem like I have it all together when I actually don't. Come, let's all learn together. The class is going to be completely virtual, which means that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can actually join in. Through Karabo Consultancy and the Karabo School of Communication, I want us to form a network of individuals, professionals across different parts of Africa, across different parts of the world, where we can share our stories, where we can learn from one another. No one has to show up as someone who knows everything. And I'm also looking forward to learning from you as well. And so there is an introductory prize. From there onwards, it's definitely going to go up, but there's an introductory prize because I want people to be able to gain the confidence that they need. And for their work to be seen, for them to be understood, because people are doing such magnificent things out there, but we don't know about it. And so we want to learn from it. So do join us for the LinkedIn Masterclass, which is going to be taking place on the 27th of February. You can email info@karaboconsultancy.com to get more information. You can visit the various Karabo Consultancy platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Karabo Consultancy exists across those different platforms. And then also, I'm really looking forward to the public speaking program, which is definitely making its way to becoming a signature program that is only being held currently once per annum. And this is a program that is going to need you to commit to it. You know, I felt that it's not enough for us to just come together on one day and, you know, learn certain skills and, you know, and just leave it at that. For the past couple of years, I have had clients meeting with them one-on-one where they have learned the art and science of public speaking. Because public speaking is an art, it is a science, and you can learn it. I don't want anyone to shy away from feeling like, you know what, I'm not good enough to exist within this space, simply because they struggle with how to portray themselves, with how to sell their products, with how to sell themselves even, whether it's through an interview or, you know, through programs that you're wanting to introduce in the world. This program is for you. I will share some reviews with you with some of my previous clients as well. Like I said, I've been doing it one-on-one, and so now I'm very excited because even the structure is going to be so amazing. Limited seats because we need that intimacy. We're going to meet twice a month, and once is going to be one-on-one, and then the second time around is going to be with everyone else, because we're also creating that conducive environment where we can all learn together and realize that we're actually not alone in this journey, and to learn from one another. You know, iron sharpens iron. And so I'm really excited. I am so stoked for this program, and I know that you'll be able to see a baseline from where you come from and be able to see the impact that this program has had on you. It's going to be such a worthy investment, not only now, but even in your future. So I'm hoping that you will join us. I'll leave all of the details over here. Like I've already said, visit our various platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Send an email to info@karabaconsultancy.com. You can send a WhatsApp message on +267 73 989 731. Can get more information from there. You can pay. There are monthly installments. There's a monthly installment option, and there's also a once-off payment option. So I just want you to be a part of this bandwagon. Let us grow together, and remember that indeed everything is communication. Until next time, ciao.